Hi there. Welcome to another episode of StarCast. So, I've been traveling around the world a lot lately, but this week we come back to the US and I have a fascinating guest with an illuminating history in an illuminating place, Las Vegas. I'm happy to welcome Jennifer Lynn. She is the Director of Spa and Wellness at Fontainebleau, Las Vegas, but she has been at many Las Vegas properties, and nobody knows Vegas like Jennifer. So we're really lucky to have her on the program today. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Lisa, for allowing me to be here and share what has been, I've always said, a very unique marketplace. And to think of all places like Las Vegas and then having this amazing spa community that we have here is really fun for me to be able to share today.
Oh, we're looking forward to it, especially I think because when you think of Vegas, like you don't think wellness, right? You think gambling, shows, nightlife. And yet there is a very vibrant wellness culture and an amazing, I mean, I think the concentration of mega spas in Vegas is not equaled anywhere I've ever seen. And Jennifer, you've worked in many of them. So let's go back to your sort of history in this field. What did you set out to do when you left school?
Well, actually, so Lisa, I was born and raised here in Las Vegas.
Mm.
And I graduated from UNLV, and I always knew growing up here in Vegas that I wanted to be in hospitality. But in my mind, I had imagined myself working at the front desk, checking people in, and maybe being in these exotic locations. But as a cheerleader, I also had
You were
this.
a cheerleader at UNLV?
I was,
Of
yeah.
course.
Yes, I was, yeah. I'm like, I may not don the costume, but I still am a cheerleader at heart.
Mhm.
Everything I do. So yeah, so when I graduated, I was naturally just doing health and fitness and dance related things. And that naturally started putting me more into the spa setting. And I fell in love with it right away with the fitness side of things. And then I saw this amazing opportunity to marry my passion for hospitality and living in Vegas with all of these personal passions that I had of
Mhm.
living well and being fit and sharing that in group exercise because that was really big at the time in the 90s
I
still.
remember
So,
fitness classes. We'd wear those little things on our leg, the leg warmers, and you
the
had
leg
your little
warmers.
Leotard outfit. Oh my gosh, yes.
I know. Are we going back? That's
Going
fun.
back.
Can I tell you, my first spa, we had a paper book. We didn't even have
Oh,
computer set up
absolutely.
yet or
Yep.
anything. It was,
Now, Jen, I can remember when we would advertise for front desk help, and it had to be like you had to have good penmanship, like to apply for the job, right?
yes. And then there was always erasure. You had to have a really
And
good
whiteout.
eraser.
We are really sounding old. Let's move on. So what was your first spot job?
My first spa job was actually at the Mirage Hotel, and I was a water aerobics instructor. And at the end of the summer, because it was outdoor at the pool, at the end of the summer, I came in and became a fitness attendant and started teaching classes inside, working with the guests, and absolutely fell in love while I was simultaneously finishing up my degree at UNLV. I absolutely fell in love with the industry and the potential that I saw because at the time it was still kind of just starting to develop in a big way. It was always seen as an amenity to a hotel, right? But in Vegas, I think we started seeing that it was starting to become big business when I first got involved.
You had fitness classes at the Mirage
Mhm.
that guests could attend?
Yes, yeah, we had an indoor fitness class, and then, of course, when we were out at the pool too, we would do the
Mhm.
outdoor classes, yeah, with the water
That's something
aerobics.
you don't see much of anymore, have fitness classes in hotel settings. We're starting to see it come back, but I think the last 15 years, I have not seen much of that.
Yeah, well, we see things coming at ebb and flow, and we actually did with our new opening at Fountain Blue, which was just December of 2023. We did put a movement studio into the fitness center. It's 14,500 square feet, and we have close to about 1,200 square feet dedicated to a studio, mirrored studio, and we do all types of classes. As a matter of fact, today is Wellness Wednesday, and we start the day with guided meditation using singing bowls. And so we try to offer a diversity of classes and experiences, not just the traditional kind of boot camp series, if you will.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
good to know. You're on the forefront of that movement as usual. But let's go back to your Mirage days. So
Yeah.
you were out at the pool, you came inside for indoor fitness. What happened next?
I so then shortly after that, we were opening the Treasure Island Hotel, and I had the opportunity to step into leadership in an opening situation. And openings can be very different than just regular operations. And that's kind of where I got the little bug for seeing what it's like to be involved in a project that has a start and a stop. And the stop is when you open and become an operator, and that's when there's kind of two different skill sets that happen there. And then I spent quite a few years at Treasure Island. It was a really cozy spa, but when they're small and intimate like that, you get involved at every level, and you're able to really interact with guests and your members or your associates, if you will, very closely when you're in that kind of setting.
How small was the spa? I'm sure it wasn't small. It's just small by current standards.
Yeah, so it was 10 treatment rooms at the time. So perhaps, yeah, I guess that's the scale of Vegas, right? I forget sometimes we've got 3,500 hotel rooms, and then, we have these spas that are 30, 40, 50 treatment rooms. It is big business.
Was it a good experience for you being involved in the project management and the build out and then to go into managing that facility? I mean, was that an easy transition for you?
Not always easy. And I think because spa was really still a pretty new industry at the time, I didn't have a lot of mentors or people that I could lean on to really understand the business. I knew like on a day-to-day basis what needed to happen, but in terms of like just really running the spa operation, it took some time, and you have to develop those skills, because as we know nowadays it's no longer considered an amenity to a hotel. It's
Mhm.
big business. The spas here in Vegas can be anywhere from 10 to 20 plus $1 million a year. That's huge business with employees of 100 to
Mhm.
200 to 300 in some locations. And that's a lot of leadership that needs to happen
Mhm.
there too. So that's all
Sure.
really different than project management.
What skills did it take for the project management part, and how long did that take with Treasure Island?
Yeah. Oh, well, with Treasure Island, I was that was very early in my leadership career. So I would say I was probably only on the project for about 2 months prior to opening. And that's really at that point you just focus on building the teams, right? And so when you're in an opening, you start from scratch with everything from your SOPs to the recruitment and hiring and putting together a training plan, all of that. So it's things that you do in project management and pre-opening are things that you don't necessarily have to do again once you're in operations.
Mhm. Do you think it takes a particular skill set, of managing all the different bits and pieces in a
Yeah.
project like that?
Oh, definitely. So project management again is just really different than operations. And because it has a life cycle of you're starting somewhere and then you have to really manage each step of the way and all the different verticals within the project itself. And that's everything from, the sales initiatives to the brand development and marketing elements that need to be
Mhm.
put together. You think about the construction and project management, because they're, as we know, spas are very intricate build outs. There's a lot of mechanical, electrical, plumbing. It's the
Right.
adjacencies to the treatment rooms, all those things. And so, yeah, again, these are just skills that over the
Mhm.
years being put in the right settings and having the opportunity to meet with the right people, has been pretty amazing.
So you went from opening Treasure Island to opening Bellagio, is that right?
Yes,
And
exactly.
you were also involved pre-opening there?
I did, yeah. So that one I had a lot more time. It was closer to 9 months.
Mhm.
So that was more like equipment selection. And a lot of this at this phase in my career was very uncharted territory. And so, you just have to show up and you have to ask a lot of questions and not be afraid to ask those kind of questions if you don't know, especially when you're in like these design meetings. There's all kinds of acronyms and codes and things, and I'm
Mhm.
like, if I don't ask that question, then I'm really not going to understand what's happening throughout the rest of the project, when we're making decisions about the right hydrotherapy tub.
Mhm. Big decisions, expensive ones.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So there's a little humility that has to come when you think about the project management, or at least it did for me very early
Mhm.
on. And that's always I find a hard thing for individuals to just admit what they don't know
Yeah,
and
for
don't
sure.
tell everybody that they don't know.
Well, you were smart early on to ask the questions because it's obviously one of your good tools in your toolkit now. What you know about opening and running a spa together, two different things. So it looks like after Bellagio, you were lured out of Vegas for a short time to
I
Baccara.
did. Yeah. Yeah. Well, because having been born and raised in Vegas, I
Mhm.
graduated from UNLV, had that amazing grand opening with the Bellagio, and due to some of the corporate changes, I thought, you know what, this is the perfect opportunity to get out of market and try something else. And that's
Mhm.
when I spread my wings and left my family and my home base here in Vegas and went to Santa Barbara, California, which was pretty fantastic, for a lot of reasons. And I was there shortly after opening. So there was still a lot of instability. It takes a while to stabilize. If it's a resort and a spa opening, takes a little while to stabilize those operations. So it was still kind of that pre-opening project experience that carried over into operations. And yeah, so you're kind of like juggling both of those for a little while. And that's
And then you came back to Vegas. You missed it.
No, I actually did some consulting. So this is when my personal life took a beautiful turn, and I met the father of my son, and he was military, so we lived in a few different
Mhm.
unusual places. And so that's where I started doing consulting work. And having had a little bit of pre-opening, that is really valuable when you start consulting, because that really is about that project management.
Right.
I can tell you that's where I probably started to really sharpen my financial acumen,
Mhm.
and being able to build out, 5-year performas that and put together investment packages that owners could take to banking or,
Mhm.
funding institutions to apply for these loans and everything. So I was like, you really
You have
had
to
to
be on
understand
it, on
the
your game.
numbers.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're big numbers. They have a lot of zeros in them in Las Vegas for sure.
Yeah. Definitely.
So back to Vegas to work at Caesars. What lured you back into operation?
Oh, well, the project was super exciting. Caesars is a real legacy property here in Vegas. At the time, it was coming up on its 40-year anniversary when I got to join them, and they were
Amazing.
starting to reimagine the whole Caesars Palace and everything from the nightlife and the entertainment, to the restaurants. Restaurants have been quite a scene here in Vegas.
Mhm.
As well. And so, as this renovation of Caesar's Palace, it was just a beautiful opportunity to be involved with a 50,000 square foot spa build out. That
Mhm.
one had 40 treatment rooms there. And
Amazing.
really wanted to do something different. And that excites me because I love trend spotting and kind of the authentic trends, not
Mhm.
just the bad kind of things, but the authentic trends that are coming and being able to expose that. And if you think about that in Las Vegas, we have thousands and thousands of spa guests that come through every month. And so the ability to start being able to share that
Mm.
at a large scale like that is also really exciting. So um I think, that's when I joined the Quabasin Spa project team. It was all about creating something new, doing historical research on the Roman baths. That's something that's a
Mm.
personal passion of mine. Is anytime I get introduced to something new, spa and wellness wise, I go down a rabbit hole and I deep dive and I try to learn all about whatever it is that I'm researching so that there's as much authenticity as possible and actually trying to go to those locations sometimes too. You know
Yeah.
what that's like, Lisa.
Well, I remember when the Claw Baths opened. I think we had an ice spa party then.
Yeah.
And there was nothing like it then, like the public bathing area. I mean, this is the thing that we're talking about so much now, but back then, I mean, that was the mid aughts, right? It was just they didn't have that model, so it was really intriguing,
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
fun concept. So
And I,
what?
I really credit between the Bellagio, which at the time was the Mirage Resorts Corporation run by Stephen Elaine Wynn, and then Caesar's Palace was the other company that I would say that really had that spa vision like strong rooted in their hotel and casino. So I really credit them with really kind of anchoring Las Vegas in terms of these big spas and how important they are to caring for the casino guests and making it more of a resort destination and not just a hotel and a casino.
What's very forward thinking, right? Because
Mhm.
you might be with a group and they want to gamble and you don't, right? And so what is there to do, for people that don't gamble in Vegas? And I think the spa seems to be a logical choice.
Yeah, absolutely. I think well, and nowadays I really find that it's part of the destination. The reason for people to come to Vegas is they know that they're going to incorporate that into their space now. And I think one of the other big evolutions is I've seen over the years is people did come to spas maybe more on one visit here and there with just by themselves, where now people check into the desk in groups of two, four, five, six at a time because they're there to share these experiences now. And I see a lot less of the single guest coming through our spas right now. Really interesting.
Interesting. Well, it's also in Vegas, you've got sort of the scale to accommodate that,
Mhm.
that group where when you've got a 30 or 40 or 50 room spa with lounges, we don't always have that in the smaller spas.
I know.
I can remember as a consultant back in when I first started in the early aughts or mid aughts, and uh, clients saying, they wanted ideas for spas. And I would say, well, don't go to Las Vegas, right? Because they would come back with these visions of grandeur. Like, I want a spa like the Bellagio and like Canyon Ranch with 40 rooms and this and that and the pools. And it's like, yeah, but your average standalone place cannot afford that. So people have to understand the economics of it all too. So you spent some time with MGM,
Mhm.
Mandarin, and you then moved to opening Awana at Resorts World.
Yes, that was really an interesting because we were coming out of the pandemic at the time, and it was an unusual time for a lot of, I think, hospitality leaders and professionals kind of questioning, is this a sustainable,
Mm.
career path for to continue down? And so it was nice for me because I did take a little bit of a sabbatical during that time and really reflected. And so when And I started going down those rabbit holes again with all kinds of different wellness research. So when the opportunity came for Resorts World, I was ready with all kinds of, fun, fresh ideas. And then I think the other thing that came out of that too, which we haven't talked about, is how important leadership is in this business. And it does take a special leader to lead a team of skilled licensed professionals like massage therapists and
Mm.
estheticians and hairstylists and nail technologists. And it takes a special leader to also have a business hat, but then just be this compassionate leader, because you have to lead with some sort of compassion in order for them to be able to be in a space to deliver that compassion to the guest. Easy said, not always easy done. Right. But yeah, so I think that's kind of where that leadership opportunity came in. Just being fresh and coming back and helping to support and build teams.
Mhm. Well, I know at Awana you were very focused on the sauna and the Aufguss because that was a brand new concept for America, and
Yeah.
you really had to lead your team in that regard.
Absolutely. And so, and a lot of that was, again, that deep dive. As soon as I found out, I started researching and learning as much as I could about the sauna culture, because there were not a lot of US resources for
Mhm.
that. And everything really was happening over in Europe. And at that point, our borders weren't open. We didn't have that ability to have those experts come in and support us. So I also, with my dance background, being from Las Vegas, in many ways, I had to imagine what it was like to be an Aufgussmeister or a sauna meister to create a show. And so I actually hired a choreographer, and we worked with the music and the lighting, and brought what we thought was Aufguss to the US. And then once we were able to get those borders open, we got the experts here and
Mm.
learned so much more. And they were super impressed with what we had, launched with just to get it going.
Indeed. I mean, I have done Aufguss throughout Europe. And when I came to Awana and had it, I thought, this is perfect. Like Jennifer is so smart at making it with the Vegas touch, right? The dancer and it was just really, really well done. So kudos to you. And now your newest baby, the Fountain Blue. Talk to us about the size and scope of this project.
Oh boy. Well, this is by far the biggest, and I would definitely say the pinnacle of my career. Just such a extraordinary opportunity when you think about the history of the building. It was almost 20 years in the making. Originally, the land was purchased by the Fountain Blue Development Company out of Miami, and through that economic bubble, which I was in Vegas at the
Mhm.
time, had topped the building 2008, 2009. I was in the process of opening the Mandarin Oriental in City Center. And sure enough, that building shuttered, and it exchanged hands for a couple of different times. And then the original owner from Fountain Blue Development was able to acquire it back. And then it got on a very fast pace to get us here. It's 55,000 square feet of space. It's
For the spa.
for the spa, yeah,
Right.
it's 44 treatment rooms.
Oh.
It's a two-story spa. It has a nail salon with manicures and pedicures. We have something called our Reboot Lounge, which is a meant to be a more spontaneous service, and it's a beautiful space with recliners. They do foot and lower leg treatments in there, and it has 3 walls of floor-to-ceiling projected imagery for the guests to relax and take in all the nature scenes while they're getting a beautiful foot and lower leg massage. Then we have the beautiful men's and women's spaces, as well as what's fairly unique to Las Vegas is a co-ed communal space.
Mhm.
Uh, for many years in Vegas, it was copy paste, where it was separate men's and separate women's, and there the two shall meet. And with the evolution of what we're seeing with spa, we have this beautiful co-ed communal space that where we have vitality pools, we have a salt mist cave, we have a snow shower, we have 6 saunas in the spa. One of them being the event sauna, and that's where we do the off goose shows. And
Yeah, video, huge video screen. And that kind of probably seats 50 people.
30, yeah,
30,
30.
yeah. It's
And
pretty
but
big.
we do at least 4 shows a day. It's starting to become so popular. We're looking at adding some more
Yeah.
to the experience because a lot of people don't really know what to expect, and we typically kind of like recruit them in there. The sauna meister encourages them to come in. Let me tell you about the show and what it's going to be like, and their curiosity is raised. And once they're in there, it is just such a great communal sharing experience. And a lot of times people couldn't normally sit in a sauna for 15 plus minutes like that.
For sure. Well, it is really fun. And I can speak from the first person having visited Fontainebleau, what a magnificent experience it was. Great facility, had an amazing facial. And I loved all of it. It's comfortable and modern at the same time.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lisa. It was an honor to have you come in and
Oh,
to
thank you.
share that feedback. And yeah, it's what we do.
So you opened in a little bit busy time of year. I think it was early December, right?
In December, yeah.
And so you had VIP parties. And so let's talk a bit about that angle of Vegas, which is so different, I think, than any other place.
For sure. Honestly, it has been nonstop excitement at Fontainebleau since we opened through the relationships of all of our partners and our ownership and there's a strong celebrity connection which always brings an element of excitement
Mhm.
into a space. And so we started with a very big bang grand opening. They had Justin Timberlake as the
Mm,
main headliner.
that's a
um,
pretty big headliner.
yeah, and it was quite a star-studded attended event. And then, you think that's the 13th of December. 18 days later, we're celebrating the new year,
Mhm.
which in Las Vegas, is absolutely like party central. So a very fun, lively group of people that came and started enjoying the spa for not only the relaxation elements, but for the detox part of it, because we do all the hot cold contrast.
Mhm.
So really great. And then we get into CES that
Right.
right after the new year. And then we had Super Bowl. We had
Oh,
so
goodness.
many activations on property during Super Bowl. It was really exciting for the entire city, but particularly for us being as new as we were, leveraging some of those really great partners that we have, whether they're in the retail, the restaurant, or just through some of our sports relationships as well.
Mhm.
Concerts and meet and greets. And yeah, it was just a really, really cool time to be at Fontainebleau.
But exhausting at the same time.
Yes. Um, I just returned from a couple of weeks vacation. I finally needed to unplug and
Mhm.
decompress. And I think that's, you know, um, something that I would encourage a lot of spa directors if they're out there and doing that, how important it is to step away and know it's okay to okay, you'll be able to
Mhm.
come back, but coming back so much more refreshed now. And the perspective of just being able to step away is just so powerful. Not easy to do again, but very important and very powerful for how I feel now, having been through um,
Good.
the opening and
Yeah,
the
that was a busy few months. So I
Mhm.
guess, Jennifer, in Vegas, it's just more typical for you to have celebrities and VIPs and the whole, you've got the casino aspect. So let's speak to the challenges of that as a spa director. I mean, not just running the spa and the people in it, but you're part of this bigger entity that affects your daily business. So what are some of the challenges that you face?
Yeah, I think, well, it's really about those relationships with, and we need them all of the sales and the marketing teams. And you think about the big business that they do outside of the spa, whether they're big gamblers and or big group customers
Mhm.
that are doing large scale events. They're all those are our VIPs. And so I think one of the things that I've learned along the way, and I may have taken for granted a little bit, but somebody coming out from outside of the market coming in is learning kind of how to yield for those same day bookings for. So, yes, I have 44 treatment rooms, but the reality is there are times where we are booked across and you get a last minute call from the VIP services, from a casino host. The customer wants something right now.
Mm.
And again, we're talking about our premium customers that outside of the spa are spending either millions in different you know, uh, gambling, or again the events that they're putting together. And so I've learned along the years to make sure that I always keep a few in my back pocket.
Mhm. A few rooms, a few treatment rooms available?
Treatment rooms, yeah, an extra appointment for a therapist, and
Uh-huh.
managing the wait list so that we can kind of yield into that, is definitely been a skill that, I've acquired over the
Mm.
years. The team, the leadership team, we have to manage the books very closely, in order to handle that, and that means having those relationships with the casino hosts, knowing who's coming in, with the
Mhm.
VIP services, with all the sales site inspections and or the groups that are coming in, any of those premium VIPs. It's about knowing what's happening around, almost like a little city, right? It's
Mhm.
3,500 hotel rooms.
That's a
And
lot of rooms. Whew.
yeah, and there could be close to 7,000 guests in house at any given time, just staying in the hotel part, not even the casino and
Mhm.
restaurants and the nightlife.
So, do they ever come to you and like with a comp situation or VIP that you're unable to accommodate, or what? How do you manage that?
Yeah. Well, so, again, that's really up to me to learn how to manage that. And, we should never be saying no to our premium guests. And so that becomes a little bit of a skill,
Mhm.
knowing who can do which services. And then it becomes, as you know, a little bit of a Tetris game when you have a big operation like that. And there's rooms and there's therapists, and you've got to figure it out. I will share with you, though, I think this might be kind of interesting because you asked me about the comps. Nowadays, everything's fairly regulated,
Mhm.
with the comping, and there's tier status, and there are, specific ways to earn and redeem points in these loyalty programs that are out there now. However, I've been doing this for 25 plus years. Back in the day in Vegas, it was, having a casino host, and they would use their discretion, if you will, for that. So it wasn't, we never knew as much about, how much comps were or that kind
Mhm.
of stuff. So they would just call and be like, I need to get my customer in. We're like, okay, figure that out. Whereas now the customer comes with their loyalty card, and they know
Mm.
how much credit they have, and we do some beautiful programs to get them into the spa. So
Well, that's probably a lot easier from a bookkeeping perspective too.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, for sure. I'm sure the finance department is happy to know
Yes.
that
So,
they
do you
have
find
control of the
that the,
costs.
the VIP guests or the athletes, do they have specific or special needs or wants that you need to consider?
Absolutely. And so a lot of times, it's about reviewing our VIP arrivals and any writers that they have, and kind of starting to get to know them, as they continue to come back to our properties as well, and tracking preferences. So we start to learn about our guests as they start to come in. Sometimes we know a little bit in advance with those celebrities, kind of what
Mhm.
their preferences are, and then I think it's really about, especially in a spa, is truly giving him that space to be able to just unwind and relax without any tension of, thinking about their status, or anybody watching them, or trying to take pictures or anything like that. It's really about creating a space for them to relax.
Were you showing me a VIP area at the Fontainebleau Spa? In fact, I think you had more than one. I guess those are kind of an essential component of a Vegas spa.
Absolutely. I would definitely say it's been quite popular. Ours is the Supernova Suite. And so I kind of call it a spa within a spa concept. It is meant for small groups, 6 to 8, and or a couple or a VIP. It has the treatment tables in there. It has its own vitality pool, its own steam room, sauna, the restroom area, the lounging area. We set up food and beverage in there, and there's even a TV if they wanted to broadcast. We did have a group of guys that wanted to watch a March Madness game recently, and so we got them all set up in the Supernova Suite, and they were able to enjoy some snacks, watch the game, go spa in the main spa area too, come back. They absolutely loved it.
I would think so. And do you charge to rent the space to a group like that?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, it's $1,500 for 4 hours.
Oh, that's not bad. And
And
but
then
that doesn't include services, right?
no services. The services are a la carte and based on what
Mhm.
their preferences. We do massage, facial, and or they could even step out and go into it's beautifully appointed and very close to the rest of the treatment rooms.
Mhm.
So you can even go and get a treatment in a single treatment room and come back too.
Do VIP guests typically mind that, or will they go into just a normal treatment room, or do they insist on being in their own space?
I think it really depends on the individual. There have been a lot of VIPs that are very unassuming and yeah, they're fine to just be in their own little space. And then there's the some that prefer the over the top
Mhm.
experience.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess you just get to learn those tendencies as you
We
work with
do,
them.
and that's where the VIP services, that relationship there, and then their casino hosts, right? They start to learn their behaviors before we
Mhm.
even get a chance to see them in the spa, and it's all about that good communication.
So how many people report to you now, Jennifer, at Fontainebleau?
Yeah, I have over 150 employees at the moment. We call
What?
them members.
Mhm.
We believe that we're members of a work community, and so yeah, I have 150 members.
And what's your management structure look like? That's a massive team.
It is. And it's, 7 days a week. That includes spa and our fitness center. I have myself as the director and I report in through the hotel operations division. Have an amazing senior vice president as a leader. And then for within the spa and fitness, there's an assistant director that oversees spa and fitness. And then there's 3 managers.
Mhm.
So, and we divided their work streams. One of them is a fitness manager and has an amazing experience because we've activated a lot beyond just the strength and performance based training. As I mentioned, we have the group classes, but we also do a lot of stretch and regeneration services.
Mhm.
Then one of the managers manages the work stream of our hourly members, which is our concierge and our male and female hosts that run the daily operations.
Mhm.
And the other manager's work stream is all the treatment providers. So that's working on their training and skill levels,
Mhm.
as well as a strong emphasis on the revenue management. Right, we work closely to make sure that they're trained on the services, it's signed off, it's as we, continue to evolve and roll out more treatments and experiences.
So what is the communication strategy for a group that big and an operation that's open 7 days a week? Like, how do you ever have a meeting?
Yeah, well, and it does help nowadays, much like today, we're on a virtual meeting. So, if and when appropriate, we can telecast a meeting. Typically, what we do is we divide by right now, and because we're still, just over 100 days open, we're still
Mhm.
pretty new. But typically, how I like to do it, I have a weekly meeting with my leadership team. Then they have a weekly meeting with their supervisor team
Mhm.
to make sure that that is all cascading down. That's also for me, my leadership team gets what I learned from the hotel division during that time. So
Mhm.
cascading the information down. And then we have monthly meetings for the different teams. And then a quarterly all team meeting. And that's
Mm.
typically the one we try to broadcast. So that way everybody has a chance. If they can't make it at that
Mhm.
particular time, they can still participate. And that's not to say that there's not a lot of other communication that's going
Sure.
on about the daily operation. Most of our meetings, those weekly meetings, are really about focused around strategy and problem solving. And then, our other regular communications is just daily operational information exchange.
Oh, that's really helpful. What about, focus on revenue? I mean, in this kind of spa situation, do you or the managers of those people, like the therapists, do they work with them on their productivity, their utilization, their sales per hour, that, or is it just kind of whatever happens, happens?
No, no, definitely. And I think, because we're new, we have this really great opportunity to establish the DNA of this business, if you will. And you've seen it because I know you've traveled all around the world, and there's certain spas that do certain things really well. And I think it's because the DNA of that space was established, really well. They're either their retail performance is off the charts, or, their treatment room occupancy is always whatever KPI that's really strong. It probably started from the beginning. So for us, yes, we start with understanding what our budget and our revenue goals are, and then right now I'm managing a lot of the top line uh, revenue stream, if you will, and then I lean on my team to make sure that they're controlling the labor. It's really important. So we
Mhm.
budget labor every week, and then also controlling the expenses. And that's from our product sales, as well as, laundry costs can get very, very high. So making
Just
sure that,
imagine the amount of laundry you must do.
yes, we can
Busy
sometimes
Saturday
do,
with 44 treatment rooms. I mean,
I know, 8 to 10 bins of laundry in an average day.
uh,
Yeah, there's a lot of movement. So we have linen runners too, because of
mhm.
the size of these properties, getting down to the loading dock and
Is the
exchanging.
laundry like how far is it from the spa?
Well, it's not on site. So
Oh,
a lot of the hotels here in Vegas, these big casinos, there's no way that they could build facilities large enough to
mhm.
handle them. So we have some of the largest commercial laundry facilities here in Las Vegas. And it's always interesting. You got to work really closely with them, because that can go bad fast.
Mhm.
If they don't realize they've got some little something in their dryer that's catching, then it's catching every towel, every robe, and it's pulling and straining it. So you have to have a really great relationship with your laundry facility if it's outsourced, like it is here in Las Vegas. I know my time during the Mandarin, I was at a few properties where we were lucky enough to have it in-house, and that's really nice because it's quality control. But if the dryer goes down, the dryer goes down.
Mhm.
They don't
Yeah,
typically
not
have a lot
good.
of extra backup. Yeah.
How do these facilities keep straight whose laundry goes to what property? I mean, what a nightmare that must be.
Yeah, there's a whole system to it. Like I
Mhm.
said, that's a partner that we have to be really close with and work really closely. So I have regular meetings with our laundry facility plant managers
Mhm.
and account managers.
Well, you spoke earlier about the fitness portion, and you in your position oversee that as well. Your gym at Fontainebleau is amazing. I mean, it's beautiful, it's huge with the windows. You're not in a basement. And you have the studios as well. How many square feet did you say that was?
14,500 square
14,000.
feet.
And that's
Yes.
in addition to the 50,000 square foot spa.
That is separate from that
Um,
55,000 square foot spa. Exactly. It's in the wellness corridor. They're
mhm.
kind of anchor on either end of the wellness corridor. I will say, dedicating that amount of space came from our ownership vision of really understanding how important fitness is to the traveler these days, or at least the consumer we wanted to attract at Fountain Blue.
Mhm.
And so it's really much more than just a fitness and wellness center. It's a performance center in many ways. And it is very well attended. I can see how some people would choose Fontainebleau for that reason alone, to know that they have exclusive access to this amazing inspirational fitness space. It gets packed in there sometimes because there's just so many like-minded people that are staying with us at Fontainebleau that want to work out. And then also this growth I've seen of the stretch and regeneration services, everything from the compression boots to we have a photon mat where we have the Shakti mats, and then we do stretch services to complement anybody's weight training routine. So yeah.
The weight training alone, I mean, it looked like a professional sports setup. Like it was definitely not hotel gym material. So I'm sure you will attract a lot of guests for that reason. Um, so far, where are the guests coming from? Any particular region or industry, or is it just a mixed bag?
Yeah, I think we see a large majority of our guests come from the Southern California market. It's a huge
Mhm.
feeder market. But I will say, the Fontainebleau brand from Miami has such a legacy.
Mhm.
And and I meet people from all over that are like, I stayed at the Fontainebleau in Miami, and they always have this like warm memory. You can see it in their face when they talk about it. And so, we see people from all over. The Northeast is big for us too. New York is a nice feeder market, as well as the Texas area. So it depends. Right now, we're seeing a nice mix of our group guests. So depending on where the groups are coming from, we've seen a lot in the automotive industry in the last few months. A lot of gamblers for March Madness. Now that Super Bowl is
Mhm.
over, we went right into March Madness. They're having fun with all the college basketball, and then the leisure customer, that they have the opportunity to stay in a brand new room in a brand new hotel. And we just opened our pool area too, so that's exciting because we're heading into another season at
Mhm.
Fontainebleau. Mhm.
Mhm. So, in the spa, Jennifer, I'm sure massage is, super popular. What's your mix of, I think, facial rooms and massage rooms, and what is your most popular facial service so far?
Oh, yeah. So, all right, let's see. We have 44 treatment rooms. 8 of them are couples rooms. So we do have a
Mm.
strong focus on couples because, again, as I kind of alluded to earlier, very few people come to Vegas alone. And
Mhm.
nowadays, very few people come to a spa alone. So there's a lot of shared experiences there. We have 6 facial rooms, 2 body treatment rooms, and then the balance is massage. I wanna say that's 28,
Mhm.
off the top of my head, but if I missed a
That's
little
correct.
math, we're pretty darn close there. And then we have the supernova suite as well.
Mhm.
So, I look at that when I'm looking at my financials and my, key performance indicators. I'm looking at treatment room occupancy by the type. And so massage, body treatments, couples, and facials, and pulling those out separately so that I can really understand the performance of each of those rooms, because it
Mhm.
helps us to know, like, hey, maybe we should convert a body room into a massage room, a body treatment
Mhm.
room back into a massage room, because we're turning away X number of massages. And yeah, so.
So, I'm sure your leadership team worked with you on a very regular basis about your revenue and your budget. I mean, are there also tools there for you when you need help? Like if you need to come up with a strategy for how to have a promotion, say?
Yeah, absolutely. So those are some of my other meetings that I have. I work very closely with our marketing division, and that is everything from the brand development, because we did kind of re-envision the Lapis Spa brand. It did come out of Miami, but we've revamped it over the last year. And so, working with the brand marketing team, we have our social media team, which has a very different approach towards that. Collectively, we work with the public relations team for all the
Mhm.
media. They also have different needs and different assets that are required for that. And then there's the e-commerce team that I work with, and that's everything from our online advertising to placements to the website and everything. So I have a ton of resources, super exciting. This is by far the most amazing team that I've ever worked with in terms of how we've all collaborated together. Because I think over the years, sometimes the spa doesn't always get as much of the attention on a hotel project or a property as I think it could have over the years. And I'm just feeling the love from the whole marketing team all the way through. Yeah.
Well, you've got a great runway in front of you. I mean, it's a super location. You're so close to the convention center,
Hmm.
and being brand new. And yeah, all of the bells and whistles are there at Fontainebleau, many of which I'm sure thanks to your leadership. Um, in closing, do you have any funny stories you can share from any of your Vegas experience that would be kind of surprising outside of Vegas, but not so much in Vegas? Because we know everything stays in Vegas, right?
I know everything does stay in Vegas. Ooh, that is, ooh, that's a good one. Any funny stories? Um,
Or shocking stories.
Shocking stories? Oh boy. Well, it is Las Vegas, and discretion is supposed to be one of our things. Gosh, Lisa, I'm sorry, I'm not really coming across anything at the moment. It put
It's
me on the
okay.
spot. I'm like, what shocking story? I guess less shocks me these days than anything else. Yeah,
Any
I don't
funny things the guest has ever asked for? Like, has a guest ever said that they want something that's like, what? But okay, we can figure that out.
Yeah, a milk bath.
Mm.
That was an interesting, like, yeah, I wanted full out to be immersed in full milk. But we don't have those fill and drain tubs, and so that was not going to be an option. Yeah, so I think that's kind of been that was a fun one.
That is funny. Well, people can only ask, right? I mean, what else can you do?
Exactly.
You can try to say yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So, ahead for Fountain Blue for the rest of this year? Any exciting events happening?
Well, I think right now because we are so new, we are absolutely just trying to stabilize the business,
Mhm.
to make sure that we've got a really strong foundation to grow upon. And for me, I have a personal passion and desire to launch some half day and full day retreats, and be able to do that on a regular basis so that we can, attract a new customer and or small groups. And really kind of leaning into, I think the evolution that I've seen in my career, it went from fitness focus to then spa. And then we started hearing a lot about wellness. And now I think it's more about focusing on that longevity,
Mm.
that there's a personal longevity. And so I think staying aligned with that and what I sense coming from the consumer is staying aligned and offering these longevity experiences.
Need to be able to morph, don't we, these days? Because we have the facility built, but what we deliver in it has to be able to change from year to year to keep up, and stay ahead of the trends. Consumers are so much savvier now, right? They come in, they know much more about spa treatments and results than they ever did 20 years ago.
I know, and product ingredients too. They do. They know exactly what's going on.
Well, thanks again for revealing the behind the scenes of Las Vegas to us, Jennifer Lynn, Director of Spa and Wellness at Fountain Blue. If you're listening and you're in Vegas, you must go visit. It's pretty magnificent.
Absolutely. Come say hello. Thank you, Lisa.
Thanks, Jennifer. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.